in terms of tackling security, there is lack of political will.
Beyond the headlines.
Who are the sponsors of insecurity in this country?
From breaking news to everyday conversations, this is where Nigeria's conversations begin. We track the issues shaping Nigeria and the world today. The world is talking, and we're listening. This is Trends on LJE News.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Trends on LJE News, where we bring you the latest and developing stories in Nigeria and of course across the globe. My name is Omotola Adeleke. I have right here with me Esther. Esther, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
All right, Esther is not the only one here. We also have Judith. Judith, hope you're good.
Yes, I am. Good morning, everybody.
All right, so as we're ready for the conversation for today, don't forget you can be a part of our growing online community by hitting that follow, like, share, and subscribe button right now on all platforms at LJE News. Let's quickly run through our headlines for this edition of Trends. Iran and US war. Petrol price debate as Dangote challenges import claims. IPAC threatens 2027 election boycott over controversial electoral act provisions. First Lady urges Nigerians to reject entitlement mentality. Nigeria paid millions to Boko Haram for schoolchildren's release. And now to the details of the story. Amid rising tensions in the Middle East, new data from the Major Energies Marketers Association of Nigeria, MEMAN, suggests that imported petrol is currently about 64 naira cheaper per litre than fuel produced by the Dangote Petroleum Refinery. MEMAN reported that Dangote's gantry price stood at about 874 naira per litre, while the landing cost of imported petrol was about 809 naira per litre. Diesel prices also reflected a similar gap. However, officials at the Dangote refinery dismissed the claims, accusing some importers of pushing misleading narratives to justify continued import licenses from the federal government. The refinery further challenged marketers to bring in petroleum products despite the ongoing airstrikes and instability across parts of the Middle East, which have already pushed global crude oil prices to about $84 per barrel and triggered fuel price increase across Nigeria. Judith, you've heard the latest on Dangote refinery and the argument he's having with other petroleum marketers in Nigeria. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, personally, I think Dangote is a businessman. He's a private business owner, and no other person can tell him how to run his business or what price to fix his goods at. And I think the bigger problem is the lack of regulation of profits in this country. I don't think there is a law that regulates how much profit somebody, a business owner, can put on the price of their goods. I think that's what the problem is now. If he decides to sell for higher than the other refineries or fueling stations, I don't think anybody can tell him to not do that. He's a business owner. He knows the cost of production. He knows the things involved in producing his goods. So I don't think there really should be any problem here.
But right now, if you listen to what Dangote Refinery is saying, they are claiming what these petroleum marketers are saying is false. So to a certain extent, we should have concluded by now that Dangote Refinery has been regulating prices. Dangote Refinery has been a determinant of petrol prices in Nigeria. But should that trigger, Dangote Refinery's way of just, putting prices on their product and all that?
Nigeria has their own refineries, but
as it stands, we don't.
We don't anymore.
As it stands, we don't.
Oh, okay. So
all our refineries are moribund.
Oh, so Dangote is the only refinery right now producing petrol and supplying to Nigerians, and then we import the rest. Why then, like a country as big as Nigeria, that we have our own oil, we don't have refineries for the oils? Like, this doesn't even make any sense. I'm sorry. How are you an oil producing country and you don't have refineries for your oil? It doesn't sound right at all.
All right, now let's still talk about this, Esther. Dangote Refinery. In fact, there was a time we were told to thank Dangote Refinery. And just like I told Judy just right now, Dangote refinery, determines the prices of petroleum product in Nigeria as it stands. But that should that give him the yardstick to just call out any price? Should I give him the yardstick to just, put a price on his product anyhow he likes?
Now, that's where the issue of the price regulation comes in. He's not supposed to just put out any price, but let's also check the cost, the gantry price of the importing fuel. As at now, is lesser than his current price. But let's talk about the transportation cost. That's the gantry price they put out there. The gantry price is actually lesser than Dangote's current price. But if we talk
it's lesser than Dangote's gantry price. Yes, the ex-depot price is practically almost the same thing as the gantry price. Yes. You understand? Because if petroleum marketers are being supplied from Dangote refinery, of course there's going to be transportation cost too.
Yes.
If it's being imported, there's also going to be transportation cost.
So that is why we're talking about the price regulation. But let's just say currently there is this Iran-US war going on. So if we are importing price at this particular,
which is even lesser,
so if the war continues, it means it's going to go more. It's going to increase because of the scarcity of oil, because definitely there will be no chance for people to come out and go about their businesses in oil production and all of that. So if you are importing oil, and as of now, this is the country price, given that the war is going on, the gantry price, given that the war is going on, let's look at it that after the war, what happens to the prices, or now that the war is going ahead? So I think that if we're going to check Dangote's price as at now, it's going to be that it's not that high, given that this is the gantry price of the current fuel and the gantry price of the imported fuel.
If you say it's not that high, in fact, the reason why Dangote refinery, added about 100 naira to their gantry price was because of the Iran-US-Israeli, issue. And the reason why the ex-depot price also increased to about 809, which is lesser than Dangote's refinery, is also because of the Iran-US-Israel war happening right now. But let's also look at it. Dangote refinery is in Nigeria. Then why do we have Dangote as a local producer of crude of petrol from crude oil if we can have his lesser, despite the fact that his petrol are produced locally? And these ones are getting it internationally. So don't you think Dangote's price should be lesser? Since he is a local refinery.
Given that he's a private business owner, and as it sounds now, it's more as if the business is like the monopoly of oil in Nigeria, because we don't have our own refinery. Everybody's depending on Dangote.
So why should we even, the other time you all said we should. Now, I'm not against appreciating Dangote. I'm not against that. But should we actually appreciate him? If we were saying imported price of fuel is lesser than his, then why should we even appreciate him in the first place?
Because he's doing a lot. Let's look at it.
Why don't we just depend on imports since it's cheaper?
We can't always depend on imports. That is why we can depend on imports for now that is cheaper. But it's being imported in dollars. So I feel like it's cheaper now because the dollar rate has gone down. What happens when the dollar rate goes up?
Okay, I think we need to move on to the next story right now. The Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, has warned that political parties across Nigeria may boycott the 2027 general elections if contentious provisions in the newly enacted Electoral Act 2026 are not urgently amended. The umbrella body of registered political parties said the law signed by Bola Ahmed Tinubu contains clauses that could weaken internal party democracy and undermine the credibility of the electoral process. Speaking after an emergency meeting in Abuja, IPAC, the national chairman Yusuf Dantale, said parties would mobilize nationwide resistance if the National Assembly fails to review the law. He specifically criticized Section 84, subsection 2, which abolishes indirect primaries, arguing that it infringes on parties' constitutional right to manage their internal affairs and threatens Nigeria's multi-party democratic system. I remember there was a time Esther also called for the boycott of the elections if the Electoral Act amendment which is now a law, is not being revised. So what are your thoughts now that IPAC is supporting your move?
See, it feels more like Nigerians are beginning to think and reason alike. Because over time, we've been made to just do whatever the government wants. And we don't want it that way this time around. So given now that, if we read that clearly, the new law is even infringing on political parties' rights. It's not giving them the clear opportunities for, I think, infringe on their rights on primaries and all of that. So I think they are trying to they are trying to abolish or totally eradicate political parties, making Nigeria a one-party system. They are trying to make sure that everything boils down to the ruling party. But I don't think we are going to allow that to happen. It's either they listen to the voice of Nigerians, or we've tried many means. We've tried the dialogue and the protest and all of that. So they really have to give Nigerians a voice.
All right. Judith, do you agree to IPAC's position on boycotting 2027 election if the Electoral Act amendment is not revisited?
Well, I've always said that I think, yes, the elections Nigerians should boycott the elections if the law is not going to be reviewed and redone, actually, because the IPAC national chairman has said, there are clauses there that even affects them directly, and then the one that also affects us as Nigerians, which is the one that has been in the news and everybody has been talking about, which is the clause they added that if the electronic transmission doesn't work, then the other one should be used. I think definitely Nigerians should boycott the elections if the law is not reviewed.
All right, Nigerian's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, has urged citizens to move away from what she described as an entitlement mentality and instead embrace responsibility, integrity, and service in their daily lives. She made a call while hosting an interfaith breaking or fast gathering that brought together Muslim and Christian women from different sectors across the country. The event, held in the spirit of both Iftar and the Lenten season, served as a platform to encourage unity, reflection, and national responsibility. According to a statement, the First Lady emphasized that national development requires citizens to demonstrate discipline, commitment, and a strong sense of duty in their various roles and communities. Okay, let me throw this question as Judith. Do you think Nigerians have entitlement mentality?
I think, see, it's true. It's possible that there are some Nigerians that have entitlement mentality. But what is she calling entitlement mentality? Is it Nigerians demanding for a better government? Is it Nigerians demanding for their rights, basically? Is that what she considers entitlement mentality? Because I don't think there are any Nigerians going to her to ask her for money or to demand things that are not due to us from the government. All we are demanding is the things that are our rights: good roads, good healthcare system, security, and just the basic things that we deserve. So is that really what entitlement mentality is?
All right, Esther, we've been paying taxes. As a matter of fact, there's a new tax law on ground. That means we've been paying more taxes. In fact, it's like Nigerians have given up to the waters and they have decided, okay, let's just keep paying more taxes since the government has said we should keep paying more taxes. And I believe there are other ways of making revenues. IGR is also being made by the government through the people. So should Nigerians, or let me put it this way, are Nigerians entitled to have entitlement mentality?
Okay, the thing is, I don't really understand her view of entitlement mentality, because just like Judy said, all of these things are civic rights as Nigerians in this country. So if we're asking the government for this, and this is what she terms entitlement mentality, then the answer to your question is yes, we are entitled to having entitlement mentality. Because with all of these things, they tax us. Recently, they're even taxing for food in restaurants. They're even taxing for cutting your hair. They're taxing for...
They're collecting VAT.
They will soon start taxing for the air that we breathe.
VAT that are supposed to be almost invisible.
It's now very visible. There's a VAT of over 500 naira on food now. I bought a plate of rice for about 3.5 the other day, and I paid 4,000.
Do you know what I've discovered in this issue of tax, especially as a lot of business owners now separate it? Originally, it's not even separate. If you increase your price of the price of food that you're selling, you have invisibly added that VAT. one way or the other. You understand? Then why bring it? It's like collecting double VAT, if you ask me.
Exactly. So
you think Nigerians are also even being extortive in this case?
We are being extorted. There has to be, at some point, we are going to discuss about the price regulation. We have to really talk about the price regulation in Nigeria. There is no law on price regulation. Anybody can go about.
But there's an agency on price regulation.
They are not working. They are not. We don't see their work. We don't see their effort. I can open a business now, and what I know is, so look at this phone for particular. People sell iPhones at different prices. That was basically causing the rift between Lord and Very Dark Man because of the excessive implements on prices. I mean, you get
people trying to make too much
money. People that sell basic, even down to food, that this is what your food is worth. There's what they call I think how did they even put this thing? Is it AC money or something? Like when you go to a restaurant or so, and a plate of food is normally supposed to be for like 2.5 or 3.5. Then because of the ambience and the location and whatnot, entertainment.
But you don't think the ambience and entertainment is what it is? You don't think it's what adding the
Is that added to the main price of the food? Don't charge me extra for it. It's like I have to pay my own tax and pay your own tax too when you are charging me extra. Because when you ask, they are like, oh, it's tax. The federal government is not charging you tax for entertaining your customers. You are the one adding it yourself. So you're telling me it's tax. So that's like, I'm paying you for food, I'm paying the VAT, and I'm still paying your own tax for you.
So it's like, I think we've even moved away from entitlement mentality now. Are we now saying both business owners and our government have been extorting people?
What I think
are you a business owner?
No.
Okay. Esther told me she's a business owner the other time. Have you been extorting people?
I've not.
You've not added VAT in any way to, the goods and services?
I've not. As a matter of fact, it's an online business. So what am I collecting VAT for? For you using your data to respond?
Some people actually do it.
Well, I don't do that.
All right. That's a nice one. Now, but let's quickly move on to the next story. So we don't dwell too much on Nigerians having entitlement mentality, just like the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu just mentioned. Nigeria's government allegedly paid millions of dollars in ransom to secure the release of up to 230 children and staff abducted from a Catholic school in November. According to intelligence sources cited by AFP, the deal reportedly also included the release of 2 commanders from the militant group Boko Haram, despite national laws prohibiting ransom payment to kidnappers. Sources said the money was transported by helicopter to the group's stronghold in Goza, Borno State, near the Cameroon border, and handed over to militant commander Ali Ngolde. The reported arrangement has raised fresh concerns about Nigeria's counter-terrorism strategy and its stance on negotiating with armed groups. Judith, you've heard it. What are your thoughts?
Well, like I've always said, the insecurity in this country is sponsored by our leaders.
Yo.
See, at this point, that is what it is.
Yo.
How do you deliver ransom to them? You know their location. You know where they are.
Although this is an allegation.
This thing has been going on for far too long. I think one of the leaders of the country before the independence, I think it was Sani Abacha. I'm not sure who said it then, but it says if insecurity goes past 24 hours, the leaders have a hand in it. If insecurity in the country goes past 24 hours, the leaders, this has been years. Come on now. This last week, it's not, for over 8 years, I think, we've had issue of insecurity in this country. And every time we pay ransom, then nothing is done to the people that perpetrate these crimes. Then the next time they kidnap a new group, then we hear that they've paid ransom and then nothing is done. The people you pay ransom to, they are not ghosts. They are humans. You take cash to them. If you transfer money to them, you can trace where these things are transferred to. And yet, every single time they are saying they cannot catch them. It doesn't make any sense.
All right. Couple times we've heard reports that Yahoo boys are being trailed and, arrested. We've heard couple news. In fact, recently, aside, Yahoo boy being trailed and easily being, I think there was a time a court member, Judith off air, mentioned a court member who criticized the government and he was trailed easily.
Exactly.
Within 24 hours.
Exactly. In less than 24 hours. He was found by the DSS. How come criminals are able to communicate with you with technology, with their phones, these things can be traced, and yet nobody is being held responsible for these things, and they want us to believe that they are not in charge of this. It's not possible.
You know, it's actually alarming how you can easily trace someone who critique a government, and it's almost impossible to trace a criminal who kidnaps
Now,
people,
these people
collects
you're
ransom,
talking
and
about,
even still kill them despite the
it's
ransom.
just one person that the government is able to. You can imagine how difficult it is to find just one person. And we're talking about 230 people being kidnapped. How can 230 people be kept in a place in the same Nigeria and the government don't have any idea on how to locate them?
If
It's
this
really
news is,
mind-blowing.
if this news is even to go by, I think they were able to locate them, but they located them to actually pay ransom to them, allegedly.
Now
So I don't think location is even the issue.
It's between getting or setting these people free and actually strengthening these bandits. Because I also read that they even had to release 2 of the other bandits that they arrested. It's part of the negotiation. It was a swap. Like, you give them back 2 bandits that you already captured, plus over 10 billion naira for the release of these 230 people. So are they playing mind games with us? Because I want to understand how it's possible for you to even release criminals to get the freedom of citizens in that large number. It's really, I don't know. According to them, it's alleged, so we don't know. The government is denying that they didn't pay such ransom. But over time, we've heard them negotiating with these damn bandits.
And pictures, videos have been shown.
To us that this government, the other time they even called for a meeting on how to negotiate about them stopping with 2G or what. He will send them letters and they will sit with this bandit, somebody they are supposed to capture and put behind bars. You will keep him sitting there and negotiating with him, even sending the other time they sent over 250 bicycles or bikes to them. You're empowering these people and you're telling us that you're trying to free. Who are you freeing? Because legally it's not even allowed for you to go and pay ransom to these people, that you're supposed to arrest them. So why are you going them to pay? Okay, the cash you're giving to them, no tracker in it, no form of receiving these people's information, nothing. You just go and pay to them and they release.
So at this point, are we trying to say our security architecture is not capable of, securing the lives and properties of people? Are we saying our military?
I don't even think the lives and property is a thing to our government. They don't care about the lives of people. Die every day. The other time we heard about 70 people that were killed, and they deployed soldiers like 10 hours after. For them to do what? To go and count the scores of the dead people. That's why I'm seriously suggesting that there should be state policing. There should be a form of immediate response there should be a form of ASAP, like attend to these things as soon as possible. All right.
Thank you very much, Esa. Talking about the issue of state police, according to the new Inspector General of Police, IGP Tunji Disu, he has affirmed that state police, the process will definitely start. Perhaps we'll call that a welcome development, but can state policing actually solve the insecurity menace we have in the country?
Honestly, I don't think so.
You doubt?
I mean, they would help to an extent, but I really don't think that it would. The only thing that would solve the problem is when the people sponsoring them, the people empowering them, the people sending them to commit these crimes, when they stop empowering them,
so
when
it's
they
not
decide
even
to actually
it's not
do
even
something
about
about
the state
it.
police, per se.
I mean,
because at the end of the day, the government is still going to be the one funding the
exactly.
state police.
When if I decide to now open a business, and on this side I have this one party that I am funding and empowering more than on the people on the other side, the ones that I'm empowering would obviously thrive. So it's not even an issue of state police. They have to decide to do something about it before this issue of insecurity would reduce greatly.
All right. That's it for today's edition of Trends on LJE News. Many thanks to Esther. Esther, thank you very much for your contributions. And also, Judith, thank you for your input as well.
You're welcome. Thank you.
To our viewers and listeners out there, make sure to follow, like, share, and subscribe at LJE News on all social media platforms to stay in the loop and join the conversation ahead of our next show. My name is Omotola Adeleke. Bye for now.